Thank you. I know I'm right before lunch, so now I'm debating if I should go really fast so everyone can have lunch earlier, or I will be held up here until 11:45. So we'll find out. All right. My name is Yilin Zhuang. I'm with University of Florida Extension System. I think this talk is perfect just after Elsa's talk with Oregon Extension. So what I will do in this talk is just give you a quick overview of another extension program related to well. It's called the Florida Well Owner Network. So in this talk, I will give a quick overview of the private well situation in Florida and the goals and approaches of the Florida Well Owner Network, and show you some of our survey results on well owners' perceptions and a little bit on future direction. So before I get started, I just want to ask a quick question here. When you hear Florida, what's the first thing comes to your mind? Water, beach, Disney, swamp, that's right, we have Everglades. So typically, it's like when you hear Florida, you think of, I haven't heard of Miami, but I heard of Disney. It's these like urbanized area. So it's really people associate Florida with private wells and septic systems. So what I want to show you, this map here, just want to show you it's actually private wells and septic systems. They are really not uncommon in Florida. These two maps are developed by Florida Department of Health. So on the right hand, you can see it's the domestic wastewater. So if you see it's brown, yellowish color, that means it's public sewer. So if you see greenish color, then that's septic system. And you move to the left, then it's on drinking water system. If you see bluish color, dark blue, light blue, it doesn't matter. So it's a public water system. And if you start to see some purple color, that means it's private wells. So keep in mind that these two maps are based on land parcels. So it's just like you see is this land more likely to be private wells or septic systems? The reason I'm showing you these two maps, even you just look at Orlando area in Central Florida, so where Disney is, you would think it's like, okay, it should be more public water systems. Believe it or not, you can find a private well and the septic systems in that region too. Just like the previous talk even mentioned, you can find the private wells even in Boston area. And if we just focus on private wells, I really want to show you a little bit more like drawing on the details of private wells. About 12% of Florida population rely on private wells. So it translates to about 2.5 million Floridians actually utilizing private wells for home consumption. And the map on the right, it's really aggregate to county level, just give you an idea the number of people in that particular county use a private well for drinking purpose. The darker the green is, it's the higher population. So you can see it's sort of correlate with the Florida population distribution too. It's more like in Central Florida area, actually we have more people use private wells. Then how about let's look at the percentage and how many people in the county actually rely on private wells for home consumption. Then you start to see more like color or just highlighted color in Florida Panhandle. So if you see really the dark red color, that's 80% to 100% of the county population rely on private wells. On average, you can see in that area, it's about 50% of population. And the reason showing you this map is just bring awareness. There is a need for these private well users. And the need for private users is also also related to this landscape of drinking water systems. I think quite a bit of speakers already mentioned private wells are now regulated in their state. So the regulation, its primary means it's like when it comes to the maintenance. Yes, they are code about well drilling, about well specs, but not particularly about drinking water quality. So seeing this diagram just showing you 3 different type of systems, what the regulations are and who are the enforcement entities. But if you look at the private well users in Florida, it's very similar to most of the states. It's private well users' responsibility to ensure their water is safe to drink and also to maintain their private wells. So in other words, when it comes to private wells, it's largely rely on education, not on regulation. And also this was a survey conducted, I believe, in 2017. Really, it's a statewide survey just to get more like a baseline or just a sense how private well users feel about their systems, what their needs are. And from this graph, you can see, roughly we can see, say 1/3 of the private users, they do not feel quite comfortable managing their well systems. They were not sure where they could find the information, where they could have their well tested, and even it's like if they need some water treatment systems, what kind of system I need. So it's about 1/3 of them don't feel comfortable on these topics. And also they express how they would like to receive the information. So I was a little bit surprised first. I thought that, because it's like I thought we were in the information era. Social media is widely used. They probably would like to have the info on website, on social media. So you can see it's relatively low. The higher percentage is all these very personal connections through emails, through snail mails, through phone calls. So for that reason, we developed this extension program. It's called the Florida Well Owner Network. So there are several network programs you probably already heard of. I think earlier mentioned it's a Virginia program. Penn State has well program, and Texas has well owner network too. So for Florida's well owner network, it's relatively young. So we officially established in 2018. And the goals here is 4 goals. The primary goal is really education. As an extension, we provide education to educate the residents about well water quality, quantity, and the best practice to ensure well maintenance and groundwater protection. One thing I didn't put it there is also about septic systems. So, because the map showing you before, it's 12% of population rely on private wells for private wells for home consumption, and most well users actually have septic systems. The number of septic systems in Florida is much higher. It's 1 in every 3 households actually use septic systems for their household wastewater treatment and disposal. So we typically lumping septic system into well education too. And the second goal is just based on the need from the community. It's to facilitate the well testing and also provide them the information about treatment options if problems are found. And the third goal here is really to foster that community, go back to that network. So we connect well users with resources and the local experts. And the last is to complement each other, like agency partners, each other's effort to increase awareness about the well septic system and groundwater protection. So for Florida Well Owner Network, how we really conduct our program, it's like multiple approaches. So when we first established this program, we did a more traditional like extension program in-person workshops. So remember these maps I show you, like the hotspot in Central Florida and the Florida Panhandle with the highest population and the highest percentage. We started our workshops in these regions. So in our in-person workshops, typically like 2 2 to 3 hours. We sometimes invited agency partners to join our workshops, like local DOH, Water Management District, and other extension agents who may touch on like housing or even landscaping, especially when it comes to septic systems. And in the workshop, we cover topics. It's like, where does your water come from? A little bit on groundwater, and mention their well structure, well maintenance, septic system, primary conventional septic systems, advanced septic systems, and last, it's hurricane preparedness. Because where Florida is, it's never a question if we will have a hurricane. It's just like when we will have a hurricane. So that's also a very critical component for our educational workshop, is include hurricane preparedness into it. And 2020, it's really a pivoting point, and we start to do webinars like everyone else, move to virtual teaching. So starting 2020, we start to host these statewide webinars. And another approach for Florida Well Owner Network here is to provide a complementary water testing here. So not all our educational efforts, we were able to provide a complementary water testing, because it really depends on the funding. So for the first 2 rounds of our statewide webinars, we were not able to do well water testing. Funding is one thing, and also logistics. So year 3, we were able to get a USDA Extension Disaster Relief for funding, and we were able to do a statewide mail-in water sampling. But what we take this water testing, it's more like part of our educational effort. So it's for Florida Well Owner Network, we would like to provide testing or facilitate testing for our well users, but more importantly, we would like them to increase their knowledge of their private well maintenance, because education is always part of that. So we typically do it, you either get a kit before our workshop, and you bring your testing kit to the workshop, or after the workshop, after educational component, we give you a testing kit, and we'll arrange another day for pickup. And as far as what we test, we primarily focus on coliform bacteria and the E. coli, and a few educational events, we are able to expand to nitrate and lead. Again, it really depends on the county and it depends on the funding. And we also develop extension publications on wells, like how to chlorinate your well, what is drinking water standard, and how to do household drinking water testing. All these topics, well users are very interested. And we also utilize social media and the infographic. And the social media actually, it worked out very well. We did all these organic social media campaign, and it really got attention. At least the views and the reach were much higher than these traditional intensive workshops. And we did a public service announcement during like hurricane season. And it has both, like what you should do before hurricane and what to do after hurricane. And all this information I just mentioned, actually, it's on our website. We just launched our website last fall. So in this way, all the information is just in one place and easy for well users to navigate. So where are we now? Gradually, we reached we educated over 2,000 well users through the Florida Well Owner Network. We did do survey for these educational events. Believe it or not, all of them actually indicated this program was very helpful. And sometimes maybe it's like too good to believe it. And all of them actually indicated they improved their knowledge on private well septic system maintenance and groundwater protection. And of course, we have more detailed practice, ask them what content you improve your knowledge. And for these educational events, we provide complimentary water testing. Over 600 households actually had their water tested through the Florida Well Owner Network. And through this testing, to us, it's quite beneficial for us. It's also find some baseline information. I think a few speakers also mentioned for private wells, it's always like data limitation. It's always is a challenge. So it's for Florida, it's not unique. We do not know. You have very limited data on how many well users actually they're routinely testing their well water, and how many of them might be just drinking from contaminated water. So from this preliminary water testing, it showed 19% of our samples detected coliform bacteria during routine water testing. And with this 19%, 1% is E. coli. And after storm event, after flooding event, coliform bacteria increased to 38%. E. coli, it's 2%. It just sort of gave us a baseline about where the water quality is with these private wells. And of course, there are some barriers to engage our well users. Just going back to that slide, just let you see, it's like we have 2.5 million people rely on private wells for their home water consumption, and 2,000 people attended the Florida Well Owner Network educational events. So there's a barrier here. It's like how we can engage more well users into this educational event. So we find that the primary reason it's really lack of awareness. Later, our survey also showed that. So it's they were not aware as a private well user, they are responsible for their private wells. Some of them are still under the impression DOH, local DOH or state DOH will take care of their private wells. And some of them they do not know Extension actually provide these kind of education programs. They can benefit from that. And also, it's another barrier to engage these well users into our extension program. It's really accessibility. We have like in-person workshops, but in-person workshops are primary. It's like it's just two major locations, one in Florida Panhandle, one in Central Florida. Of course, we move around the counties, but there are still like areas that they may need to drive 2 hours or 3 hours to attend these in-person workshops. And for webinar series, we provide recordings at local extension, but with the bandwidth issue and the transportation strengths, not everyone available, or it's not accessible to everyone in Florida. And another barrier for engagement, it's really financial constraint, or maybe should say it's a perceived financial concern here. Here, I'm not even talking about the well water testing. So just ask them why you don't want to attend this educational event. And for them, it's like, I really don't want to know how bad my well water is. Once I find out, now I have to fix it. It's not I don't want to fix it. I just don't have the means to fix it. So it's more like, if I don't know it, actually it's not bad. Ignorance, it's a bliss, that kind of situation. And here, I just want to show you a little bit depth of our, like the gaps we find out from their knowledge and the awareness. So 46 of our program participants, they do not know their well systems. About half of them, they don't know well systems. What does that mean? So they do not know how big their well is. So is that a 2-inch well? Is that a 4-inch well? Is that a 6-inch well? So no idea what system they have and how deep the well is. So, because most of them actually, we look at our survey, because for these folks who take the water testing for us, they fill out the survey with more detailed information of their well system, how they maintain their well system, and how they maintain their septic system, and also some perception questions. So half of them, just like I mentioned, they don't know the specs of their wells. And most of them actually, it's because they didn't build a well. They inherited a well and no like well records there, and the information was not even provided through the sales transaction. And something else interesting we find is over half of the participants indicated they had never tested their well water. So I think there was a question asked earlier. It's like why they didn't test their water. For Florida well owner network participants, they mentioned it's just that simple. They didn't know they need to test their water. And also what to test. And also another reason is I just put it off. I meant to do it, but it's just really not that high on my priority. And I've been drinking that water for a while, so it should be fine. So it's on my list. I will get to it. We've been reading a lot of that kind of comments. So you can see it's half of them haven't tested their water, but they are drinking water from that particular well. And earlier also show you about 20% of wells are showing bacteria contamination. And I think here we all know it's like most of coliform bacteria, they are harmless bacteria, but it's a really good indicator just to show your well system might be compromised. There might be other issues related to your well. So for extension, it's like one action or one practice we really would like our well users to do is to test your water, test your well water annually. That's more like the one big call to action. So then it's like very naturally, half of them haven't tested their water. How can we engage them into well water testing? So we have here, we only used about 300 our survey responses. Just like, okay, we got the data. Let's do some statistical analysis. Let's find out what's the public's willingness to pay for well water testing from education, income, and the region. So let's see if we can find any correlation here. So we ran the test, and a little bit surprising to us, the levels of education, income, and location of well users do not significantly influence their willingness to invest in well water testing. We did find the correlation, a linear regression between their income and willingness to pay for well testing, but nothing is significant here. The p-value actually extremely high. So there are a few here it's just more like our theory here, why it's not significant. Because if you go back to see like 2,000 of our well participants, so they all indicated this program is very helpful and that they all learned something from this program. So they already have an invested interest before they came to our workshop. So in other words, it's our samples might be biased to begin with. And because we also noticed the trend, it's some people we provide, you can pick up your testing kit or local extension, bring the sample to the event, and we'll test your results. Some people came to the workshop, didn't want to have the water testing. And after the workshop, they realized testing is so important, and they would like to have the testing kit. So these kind of factors may influence the results. And the other potential theory here, it's majority of them actually are drinking their water from their kitchen tap without any treatment systems. And 85% here perceive their family did not get sick from consuming well water. So that could also cause the why it's not insignificant. It's just that need, the perceived need to testing water, it's not very high. All right, thank you. So now looking forward here, what's ahead of us? So we'll continue to conduct and expand our educational events and create more resources in both English and Spanish, especially these infographics. At this point, we only have it in English, not in Spanish yet. And also, we would like to finalize our dashboard and upload to our system, because I don't think this is the first GIS map you've seen. And I believe it won't be the last GIS dashboard you see for this conference. So we just love mapping. But here, I just want to show you we aggregated all the data to county level. So no will users identify information is disclosed. The reason we do this dashboard is just really give people a rough idea. If you're in this county, what might be the average well depth, and what might be what else we have here? More like well users' behaviors and also your well system information. And down the road, we want to add another layer of that. It's a pledge to test. So, because we are network, so how to reach out to these people are important. The network can help us to get the contact info from these people. And the research also shows when people pledge, a higher chance they will do this activity. And this dashboard will also be on our website. And I will quickly touch on it. We'll seek more partnership, both from funding and testing. So this is our partnership here, but we plan to do a more deep dive into our partnership mapping. So this is more like high level, but it still need to do like in regional level, what they can do, what they cannot do, and how we can collaborate to expand this program. And with that, here's my contact info and our website. I'd be happy to take any questions you may have. Thank you. All right, we have one question here. The first question is, how do you get the word out about your educational webinars? Do you partner with the local organizations to promote this event? That's a really good question. So we primarily utilize the extension network. For state of Florida, we have 67 counties. There's at least one extension office in each county. So when we have these in-county, in-person workshops, we highly utilize the county network. So when it comes to promotion, it's like traditional mass media, we do press release, we do social media, we have mailing list, and we also have all kinds of festivals and fairs, bring our flyers to the event. And yes, we have partnered with organization might not be the right word for this point at Florida. We primarily work with our agency partners. So I pick up some good ideas here. It's like some industry organizations we can collaborate. That's a great idea. Yeah, great idea. Thank you. All right, the next question here. What flood prevention or hurricane tips do you provide to homeowners? Do you provide testing of hurricanes? So, first on the hurricane preparedness. So primary, just let them know the impact of hurricanes. It can cause like the wind damage, power outage, and what if you lose your water, how you prepare your emergency water supplies, and what if your property is flooded, what you should do. That's more like the main messages we do for hurricane preparedness. And for after hurricane testing, we did that. It really depends on funding. We would like to do more. At this point, we are only able to do 2, but I do know local DOH, like if it's in the FEMA region, they will also distribute well water testing kits. Oh, yeah. Thank you.